Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is the Not So Serious Keto video podcast. Last week, I think it was last week, I did a review of the Hawaiian rolls from Aunt Millie's, and boy, did I get some serious inflammation from that. I mean, I don't recall any product that I've ever done a review of that has caused me such severe inflammation. It was pretty close to 3 days of just feeling the way I felt before I went keto. Back when I thought that back pain and knee pain and elbow pain and all that were just a sign of getting older, and I didn't know what inflammation was. I felt like that for 3 days, and I do not like that feeling. I don't like it at all. I don't want to ever feel it again. And as a result, I'm going to have to start taking a different approach to which products I do reviews of and glucose testing on. I mean, I'd mentioned a couple weeks ago that there's a fair amount of logistics that goes into the glucose testing, making sure that I'm fasted, that my glucose is stable, that I'm not experiencing any fluctuations like the dawn effect in the morning. Basically, I kind of got to plan my entire day around a glucose test, making sure that my body's ready and that I'm not going to be doing anything for the next 2 hours. But the inflammation aspect, that I can't continue to do it. So I'm going to have to figure out a different strategy. I'm not going to be testing out every bread, every tortilla, every pasta, all of that stuff. I think what I may do is sort of here's a list of products that I'm not going to review this month, and show things that I had seen at the grocery store that I looked at the ingredients and thought, no, this is going to cause me issues. And I've really wrestled with this over the last few days because I know a lot of you really appreciate me trying out these products. You see them on the grocery shelf, you wonder if they're okay. And I want to be able to keep providing that service, but at the same time, I don't want to keep inflicting inflammation on myself. So I'm going to figure out something. I don't know what it is yet. Like I said, it could just be a list of products and here's the ingredients and here's why I'm not testing it and here's why I would probably recommend against purchasing them and eating them on a ketogenic diet. But I'm definitely going to be more selective about the products that I review going forward. The next topic is related to a comment that I got this week, and I don't normally like to dedicate a topic in the podcast to a comment, but I think this one deserves a little clarification, especially in light of some of the things that YouTube has been doing lately. And it involves channel memberships. So I got a comment from a viewer saying that he was going to unsubscribe if I continue to, what did he say? Price gouge. I continue to price gouge by pushing channel memberships on people. I don't think I've ever pushed a channel membership on anybody, and I don't think it's really price gouging because there's multiple tiers of channel membership. The lowest is 99 cents. So maybe it makes a little sense for me to interject here and discuss what channel memberships are and what they aren't. Channel memberships are completely optional. If you just want to continue to enjoy my content for free, that is okay. Notice I am not pushing it on anybody here. So what channel memberships is basically a chance to support this channel financially and keep it going. And in return, you get a few little perks. Nothing all that fantastic, and very little in the way of exclusive content. What you do get, though, is advanced views of my videos. And I think this is one of the areas where there's some confusion, because it appears that YouTube has started showing non-channel members like previews or thumbnails for my members only videos. And they're only members only for a handful of days before they go public. But I think people are seeing these and are thinking that there's a paywall to get to my content. There is not. It's just you're getting it a little bit early. That's one of the perks. It's also sort of a good thing for me because sometimes they'll catch mistakes, they'll catch an error on my website, something I did wrong with the recipe, or maybe I screwed up something in the description, and that helps me out. So it's sort of a little beta test before the videos go public. And there's a handful of other little perks that you can get, most of which you can get for just 99 cents a month. But the only exclusive thing that I do is twice a month I do a little Ask Me Anything video. Originally it was live streams, but the problem is getting a decent group together for a live stream and then waiting for the questions to come. So what I do on these members only videos, just 2 a month, is I will let people ask me a question on a video, and then 2 weeks later in the next video I will answer those questions and repeat. These questions can be keto related, they can be non-keto related, doesn't matter. Ask me anything. And sometimes the questions that I get may be good enough that I can make a podcast topic out of it. So you wind up getting it that way, which is going to be the case with the next topic. But anyhow, channel memberships aren't going away. I want to thank everybody who is a channel member. It helps out so much. It really does keep the channel going. So thank you. So the question I got from one of my channel members during the Ask Me Anything session is, what are your recommendations to someone who has hit a plateau on keto? So you've been doing keto and you've stopped losing weight. What do you do? I guess my first question would be, are you measuring your ketones? If not, you should be. And you don't need to go out and buy a Keto Mojo. I've got one, I like it, but you don't have to go out and buy a Keto Mojo. You can just get those little keto sticks, the urinary sticks, just to see if you are in ketosis. Because you may think you're in ketosis, you may think that you're adhering to a ketogenic diet that fits you and gets you into a state of ketosis, but unless you're checking your ketones, you don't know for sure. So that's step one. And if you find out that you are not in ketosis, then it's time to take a hard look at your carb count. And I would probably advise you to go with total carbs rather than net carbs. Now, I did a full dedicated podcast on my thoughts on total carbs versus net carbs. The short version is, if it's a commercial product, if I see a product on the grocery store shelf and it's advertising net carbs, my first instinct is to not believe it. I find that net carbs is a viable calculation if you're eating whole foods or if you're making recipes from whole foods and you know what the ingredients are. You know what truly is fiber, what isn't fiber. If you're using a sweetener, you know what sweetener it is, you know what the glycemic index is. Many of these commercial products, they get away with calling stuff fiber that is still going to affect your blood glucose, that is still going to affect your ketones. They use certain sweeteners that have very high glycemic indexes, even though they are an alcohol sugar and then can be subtracted from net carbs. So if you're stalled and you discover that you're not in ketosis, my advice is start looking at total carbs and probably start at maybe 50 grams per day total carbs and ratchet that down if necessary. The next question I ask when people tell me that they've stalled is, are you eating commercial bread and tortilla type products? So any of the breads, buns, tortillas, anything like that that are labeled low net carb or keto. If you are, my experience is probably less than 20% of that stuff is actually all right on keto, that it's not going to affect your glucose, it's not going to affect your ketones. And you can check out my reviews and see that. I think one of the biggest issues is the Mission brand tortillas. And I don't recall their specific low carb or keto brand, but every one of the Mission products that I have tried has spiked my glucose. So the first and easiest step is just avoid any commercial keto bread or tortilla type products. Alternatively, you can check out my reviews and see which ones passed my test. I can tell you for tortillas, La Banderita and Olé Extreme Wellness. Those are the two brands that I find are just the most consistent across their product line. They don't spike my glucose, they don't have any inflammatory seed oils, and they taste all right. Also, they're both made by the same company. But probably stay away from all of that stuff until you've hit your maintenance weight. The next thing I ask about are the non-scale victories. So how are you feeling? I mean, if you're in ketosis and you're feeling good and your body feels good and you don't have brain fog and you don't have inflammation and you're feeling younger, then don't get hung up on the weight. Treat the weight as a side effect. Additionally, body composition can also play a role in this. Your body composition may be changing. So while you're not losing weight, you may still be losing fat or inches. So how are your pants fitting? How are your shirts fitting? And so on. Don't get too hung up on the weight. And it seems to me that there were a couple of more things, but I can only think of one, which is if you're consuming alcohol, I would also say stay away from alcohol until you've hit your maintenance weight. And while there are certain types of alcohol that you can have and still maintain a ketogenic lifestyle, like dry wines, dry reds, dry whites, hard liquor, no mixers, what else? You know, some of these little, what do they call them? There's like a seltzer type of thing with alcohol in it. Hard seltzer, that's it, are pretty low carb. But they're still calories. They are empty calories and they are going to impact your metabolism negatively. So I would say if you are in the weight loss phase in keto, stay away from that until you get to your maintenance weight. But I think that's it. I know I'm probably forgetting something, so if any of you have any tips on how you've broken through a plateau or a stall on keto, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I'm sure it will help somebody. The next topic is not at all keto, but it is short. The other night, while my grandson Colton was over here and we're having dinner, he said, "Grandpa, I've got a bit of a situation." And I said, "What is it, Colton?" And he said, "I'm stuck in the water in Minecraft and I can't get out." For a 6-year-old playing Minecraft, this is a pretty big deal. So Grandpa fired up the Xbox, found out how he was stuck, got him out of the water. Grandpa's a superhero. The final topic I want to cover, and actually this is also related to a few comments that I got a number of comments from people on my videos related to Carolyn Ketchum's new cookbook, thanking me for supporting Carolyn. And to me, it feels like the right thing to do. I mean, we are not competitors in the keto world. Not me and Carolyn, not me and anybody, as far as I know. I mean, I look at us as one big community. We all share the same goals, which is to help bring keto to the masses, to help make keto easier, more accessible, less restrictive through recipes, to just try and be a helpful resource. And some of us have different styles, some of us have different ways we do it, some of us do baking recipes, some of us do barbecue recipes, some of us are more carnivore, some are more dirty keto. It doesn't matter because we're all together in this. And Carolyn, I have mentioned this in the past, has been just such an amazing resource to the keto community, especially in terms of baking. And it's such a sad situation that she's releasing this cookbook and it should be such a happy time for her. But with the recent loss of her husband, I got to imagine it's pretty bittersweet. So I am only too happy to do anything I can to help out Carolyn, including sharing recipes from her cookbook, giving you my impressions of it, which are very positive. It's a great cookbook. I'll link to it down in the description below. It's coming out August 12th. But that's going to be it for this podcast. As always, I appreciate this time that you spend with me. I appreciate the comments that you leave, the questions that you ask. I appreciate you taking the time to listen and watch. And that's it, right? So thanks for watching.